He wasn't the most feared pirate nor the richest, but he became legendary for the company he kept. This is the story of Calico Jack, the pirate of rebellion, romance, and betrayal. John Calico Jack Rackham was not known for his naval strength or vast plunder, but rather for his companions, Bonny and Mary Read, two of the most infamous female pirates in history. Unlike other violent pirates, Rackham embodied the rebellious and free-spirited nature of piracy, using charm and cunning over brute force. His story is filled with mutiny, love, daring raids, and ultimate betrayal. A tale that proves piracy wasn't just about wealth, but also about defying society's rules. Stay tuned as we uncover the true story of Calico Jack, the pirate who lived and died by the sword. Early life and path to piracy. John Rackham was born around 1682 in England, but little is known about his early years. Like many young men of his time, he was drawn to the Caribbean, a place where wealth, adventure, and lawlessness provided an opportunity to escape a mundane life. The first historical record of Rackham places him as the quartermaster of Charles Vane, a notorious pirate known for his violent raids and unpredictable temper. Even in this role, Rackham stood out as a leader, favoring strategy and charisma over reckless brutality. By 1718, tensions grew between Rackham and Vane over Vane's unwillingness to engage stronger ships. Seeing an opportunity, Rackham led a mutiny, overthrowing Vane and taking command of the crew. With his new captaincy, he sought to make his own legacy in the golden age of piracy. Under his leadership, the crew focused on raiding small merchant ships, favoring quick, calculated strikes rather than drawn-out battles. This approach ensured a steady flow of wealth, but it also meant Rackham remained in the shadows compared to legendary pirates like Blackbeard and Henry Morgan, at least until he met Bonny. The rise of Calico Jack. Rackham soon earned the nickname Calico Jack, thanks to his preference for wearing brightly colored calico clothing rather than the rough, dark fabrics worn by most pirates. His distinct style set him apart, making him an instantly recognizable figure in the Caribbean. Unlike the bloodthirsty pirates of his time, Rackham was not known for extreme violence. Instead, he preferred to outthink his enemies, targeting small, lightly armed merchant vessels in the Bahamas and Cuba rather than engaging in high-risk naval battles. His charming and charismatic leadership attracted a loyal crew, but it was his decision to welcome Bonny and later Mary Read into his ranks that sealed his place in pirate history. Their ship became one of the few pirate crews where gender played no role in status or leadership, breaking the traditional norms of piracy. Though he never amassed legendary amounts of wealth, Rackham's cunning, leadership, and his unconventional crew made him one of the most talked-about pirates of his time, but it was his relationship with Bonny that would ultimately define his legacy. The love story: Calico Jack and Bonny. In 1719, Rackham met Bonny in Nassau, a pirate stronghold in the Caribbean. Anne was already known for her rebellious nature, refusing to live within the confines of traditional society. She was married to James Bonny, but their relationship was loveless, and when she met Rackham, the two fell for each other instantly. Refusing to stay with James Bonny, Anne ran away with Rackham, leaving behind her old life to embrace the world of piracy. To avoid scrutiny, Anne disguised herself as a man, blending in with the crew as an equal. Over time, her identity became known, but Rackham did not force her into a lesser role. He welcomed her as his partner in piracy. Their ship became a floating refuge for outlaws, where Anne fought alongside the men and proved herself to be a fearless warrior. Unlike many pirate women who stayed in the background, Anne stood on the front lines, sword in hand, fighting beside Rackham in their raids. Together, they launched a series of daring attacks, building a reputation as a powerful pirate couple. But Rackham's days of freedom on the high seas were numbered. Their love story, like his pirate career, would soon come to a tragic end. The addition of Mary Read. During one of their raids, Rackham's crew captured a ship where an unknown sailor fought fiercely before surrendering. That sailor was Mary Read, disguised as a man. Unlike most women of her time, Mary had military experience, having served in both the British and Dutch armies before turning to piracy. Her skills with a sword and pistol made her a valuable addition to any crew. Bonny, sensing something different about the newcomer, befriended Mary and eventually discovered her true identity. Rather than seeing her as a rival, Anne admired her, and the two became inseparable companions in battle. Rackham, realizing the fighting prowess of both women, fully welcomed Mary into the crew. Soon, Bonny and Mary Read were feared even more than most men, known for their courage, skill, and brutality in combat. The trio of Rackham, Bonny, and Read led one of the most unique pirate crews in history, where gender was no barrier to power. But their rising fame also made them a target for British authorities, as their presence at sea challenged traditional norms of piracy and society alike. Their time together was brief, but it cemented their place in pirate history forever. Calico Jack's infamous flag, the Jolly Roger. One of Calico Jack's most enduring legacies is his version of the Jolly Roger, a skull with two crossed swords beneath it. This design became one of the most iconic symbols of piracy. Unlike Blackbeard's terrifying skeleton-themed flag, Rackham's Jolly Roger was more rebellious than sinister, representing freedom, defiance, and the pirate brotherhood. The flag struck fear into merchant ships, warning them that surrender was their best option. Pirates used the Jolly Roger to announce their intentions. Ships that surrendered peacefully were usually spared, while those that resisted were given no mercy. Today, Rackham's version of the Jolly Roger is one of the most recognizable pirate symbols, appearing in movies, video games, and pop culture. The crossed swords add a sense of action and adventure, making it the perfect emblem for the romanticized image of piracy. Though Calico Jack's pirate career was short-lived, his branding genius ensured his name would never be forgotten. His Jolly Roger flag remains one of the most famous symbols of piracy, reinforcing his reputation as a pirate of style, rebellion, and strategic cunning. The downfall, captured by the British Navy. By 1720, Calico Jack's infamous pirate crew had drawn the attention of Governor Woodes Rogers, who had made it his mission to eliminate piracy in the Caribbean. Rackham and his crew, confident in their success, spent an evening celebrating aboard their ship, drinking heavily. Unbeknownst to them, British pirate hunter Captain Jonathan Barnett had been tracking them. In the dead of night, Barnett launched an ambush, catching the pirates completely off guard. Many of Rackham's men were too drunk to fight, making them easy prey for the British Navy. Only Bonny and Mary Read stood their ground, fighting fiercely against the British, while the rest of the crew cowered below deck or surrendered without resistance. Despite their bravery, the ship was soon overrun and Rackham was captured without much of a fight. His once proud pirate career had come to a humiliating and abrupt end. The legend of Calico Jack was about to be rewritten, not as a great warrior, but as a pirate who let the women in his crew fight harder than he did. This moment would define how history remembers him. The trial and execution of Calico Jack. Rackham and his crew were taken to Jamaica, where they faced trial for piracy. The evidence against them was overwhelming and their fate was sealed from the start. The trial was swift, and Rackham was sentenced to death by hanging, a common fate for captured pirates. His final request was to see Bonny one last time, hoping for a farewell. But Anne's legendary response was far from comforting. If you had fought like a man, you need not have been hanged like a dog. On November 18, 1720, John Calico Jack Rackham was hanged in Port Royal, and his body was displayed as a warning to other pirates. Though his piracy career was short-lived, his story lived on, thanks in part to the remarkable women who sailed beside him. Calico Jack's story is one of rebellion, love, and betrayal. While he was not the greatest pirate, his legend survived through Bonny, Mary Read, and his famous Jolly Roger flag. But was Rackham a true pirate leader, or was he overshadowed by the legends of the women in his crew? What do you think? Let us know in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more legendary pirate stories.